This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, February 23rd. Please stand for our invocation led by Councilmember C.J. Small, District 3, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence following the pledge.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for waking us up this morning and starting our way. We thank you for letting us see this brand new day, dear Heavenly Father. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless our mayor. We ask you to bless our city council, dear Heavenly Father. We ask you to bless the citizens of Mobile. We ask you to bless our city in general, this county, this state, and this world. In Jesus' name do we pray. Amen.
If you would, please remain standing for just a moment, for a moment of silence this morning for a lady named Mara Garino. If you are involved in downtown at all, you know who Mara is. She died suddenly yesterday. She is a past board member and treasurer of the Mobile Sports Commission. There will be an obituary in the newspaper in the morning with details. But the Holiday Inn Downtown Management is handling all of those details for the funeral right now. So at this point, we just want to offer a moment of silence for Mara and her family. If you would, please bow your heads. Thank you.
Roll call, President Gregory,
Here.
Vice President Richardson,
Here.
Councilmember Manzi,
Here.
Councilmember Small,
Here.
Councilmember Williams,
Here.
Councilmember Daves,
Here.
Councilmember Rich. Here. Statement of rules.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's good to see so many folks here in the audience this morning, a lot of familiar faces. Our council rules are very simple. We just ask everyone to please turn off all of your electronic devices. If you come to the podium to speak, you'll have 5 minutes. At the end of 4 minutes, you'll hear the buzzer, and that's the indication that it's time for you to go ahead and wrap up your comments. Please give us, I think I said your name and address for the record, but if you have any questions or concerns, please address those to me. I'm the chair, and I will ask the appropriate member of the council or administrative staff to try to answer those for you at that time. Again, thank you so much for coming, and we welcome back our mayor. He is quite the jet setter. I'm sure he will have some details about his trip to Singapore coming up shortly. Thank you.
Approval of minutes of February 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Communications from the mayor.
Thank you for that remark, Madam President, but I am not a jet setter. Glad to ride on the jet, but Singapore is a very, very long way, but it's an honor to be able to go to these various trade shows and represent the city of Mobile, trying to explain the great things that are going on in our city, to represent the opportunities that companies have to grow with us. You know, our primary target there are businesses that are in the aerospace industry. You know, we went with kind of one mindset, but when you go to a place like Singapore, there's no way that you're not impacted by the environment that's around you. And as the mayor, you start seeing things and observing what they're doing other than the real purpose of the trip, which was to, you know, recruit future businesses to come to the city. In the area of recruitment, one of the things that was most startling is Singapore Engineering. All right, they are the parent company of what is our now VTMAE, or VT used to be ST Aerospace. But Singapore Engineering is a tremendously diverse company. They build tanks for armies. They build unmanned passenger vehicles that ride down the street with in amusement parks with nobody driving. I mean, it's amazing that they do. And of course, the first thought that went through my mind is what opportunities are there for VT or ST Aerospace and Engineering to do something differently or in addition to what they're doing in Mobile. All in all, it was a great trip from the opportunity for us to continue to forge relationships and make sure that we are maintaining those that we have. Our competition was there, so it's a good thing that we were there to wave the banner for Mobile. Another thing that was interesting, to kind of put things in perspective about the city of Singapore, it's really been built in the last 50 or 60 years. And I was standing on top of a building looking at their container port. And their container port is right next to their banking district. Now, their banking district probably has 60 high-rise towers that are all as big as ours, as the RSA. And right past that are all the petroleum tanks that are right there. You know, they have no natural resources. They have to bring all their energy, the stuff for energy, whether it's the gas, oil, and so forth, to supply the country. About 5 million people live there. In the city of Mobile, we have 1 million visitors come in here a year. We're not quite at 1 million that fly into our airport. They have 1 million every week. And they're building an airport so that they can bring in 2 million every week. And to see what they have done to control the growth of the city and the beauty of the city is really eye-opening. I really wish I could have had several days to really see how they handle everything. But anyway, all in all, a very successful trip. I'm glad to have had the opportunity to go. Today, the City Council is going to vote on resolutions to spend almost $2 million on restoring sidewalks. You know, it's the most comprehensive, inclusive procurement process that we've had to date. In the course of the bid solicitations, we informed as many qualified businesses as possible via email, phone calls, and speaking engagements. You know, we also hosted our very first industry day and pre-bid meeting for all interested contractors. You know, there's a lot of conversation about the bidding and the outcome of those bids, but I would like to point out to everybody, for the first time in over 30 years, for the first time in the history of Mobile, we have a bona fide supplier diversity program in place. We have an outstanding team that's trying to navigate the way forward. This is our very first test of it. You know, is there an opportunity to do better? Absolutely. And I can tell you that we will do better going forward because we've learned a lot in this process. But with the team of Don Rose and Arshanique Kidd, I can assure you that we are listening to the criticisms, and we will make adjustments where we can make adjustments, and again, we will get better as we go forward. The exciting thing is, though, is that we're getting ready to see transformations in our infrastructure that we as a city have not seen funded by the city in a long, long, long time. And so that is something that we need to stay focused on and making sure that we improve upon the processes to make sure that we handle this appropriately. You know, when you think about people riding down the roads and the comments that we've gotten about riding out Old Shell Road and how great it is that you can either ride a bicycle. The other day at Sunday, our minister confessed. He said at 4:45 this morning, I got up and I was running beside that brand new asphalt and I couldn't stand it. He said, I went out and got in the middle of the yellow line at 4:45 in the morning and ran down the middle of the road. And I suggested afterward that I wouldn't do that in the future. But anyway, it does bring a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of great things that will come out of this. So I'm excited to be a part of it, grateful for the City Council for what they've done to help make sure that we get this done. In another area, I want to thank the artists John Cherney and PNC Bank for generously donating a priceless gift to the City of Mobile. Cherney is a nationally recognized artist who has been featured in the New York Times, the National Geographic, and prestigious Rice Gallery at Rice University in Houston, Texas. The gift is a multi-part installation featuring life-size dinosaurs and 5 admiring tourists. It can be viewed from the large island and the lake at Langham Park as part of the Mobile Museum of Art's ongoing sculptural trail. I will continue to partner with the Mobile Museum of Art to revive our parks through the power of art. I'd also like to announce that Assistant Secretary of Commerce Jay Williams will be visiting the City of Mobile this week. He will be touring Brooklyn and the Port of Mobile and USA. I'm looking forward to sharing him the momentum that we've created in the city and that we're experiencing in Mobile. On Thursday, I'm serving on a panel for the Local 15 Town Hall, the Heart of Mobile, the Future of Downtown. It'll be held at Burnham Hall in the Downtown Mobile Public Library on Government Street at 7 p.m. It will air live on WJTC UTV 44 and streamed local15tv.com. Tune in. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Lambert?
Monthly finance report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I think I mentioned to you at the January meeting that Munis had gone live on January 4th. And for the first time now, we're trying to extract financial reports from the system. And we've got a ways to go. We're having to manipulate those reports to get them the way you're accustomed to seeing them so that they're meaningful. And we're not all the way there yet, but I can tell you that in terms of revenues for the first 3 months of the year, we are traveling about $900,000 ahead of last year. That's revenue into all funds. If you recall, we had a fairly flat November after a pretty good October. We were about $550,000 ahead for December. So that is a positive thing. On the expenditure side, once again, every operating department of the city is traveling within their budgets and some substantially under. And I guess this afternoon, Mr. Daves, the City Council Finance Committee will be meeting to go over these reports in detail. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Wesh while he is here? We do have that Finance Committee meeting this afternoon, but if there are any questions now?
Yeah, Madam President.
Mr. Daves?
As you and Mr. Wesh have pointed out, the Finance Committee will meet today at 2 p.m. in the council conference room in order to hear more. So, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Lambert.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on April 23rd, Mobile Infirmary Circle, March 11th on Dolphin Street, April 23rd on River Forest Drive, and February 27th on Fontaine Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on these appeals? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Chris Napier.
Chris Napier? Is Mr. Napier? Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
My name is Chris Napier. I live at 3430 Coran Court, 8 Mile, Alabama. This morning, I would like to invite the city officials to come out to view a documentary that I'm have a private screening of at the BMA Library from 5:30 to 8. To give you a brief description of the documentary, the title of it is Redemption Beyond My Past. It's a story of myself and Joseph Mance produced. It tells my life story from the beginning, witnessed the death of my father, being a troubled kid, living in dysfunctional family as well as community, quitting school at 15, being sentenced to life plus 7 years at the age of 18, doing 14 years of my life in prison, and just trying to make a difference in the community.
Yeah.
So today I'm here to invite the elect city officials to come out to view it and to get the city support.
Thank you very much. I think we got an invitation in our mailboxes to this as well.
My presence, I want to reinforce.
Yeah, what is the date again?
Friday, February the 26th. from
Friday,
5
this Friday night?
Yes.
Right. Okay, at what time?
From 5:30 to 8.
5:30 to 8 at the downtown library in
Yes.
the theater.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Irene Antone.
Ms. Antone?
Good morning. Irene Antone, 2202 Clinton Street. May I say one thing to the mayor?
Um,
It's about this.
Well, just go ahead and say it.
You're not a mind reader. How did you know I was gonna talk about bike trails? Okay, many years ago, I went to Chicago, and they had bike trails right along with the cars and whatever. Well, a city like ours looked like we would have bike trails everywhere. But by the same token, I went to Pritchett about a week ago. They got bike trails and signs, I think it might be 3 feet or whatever. And on the other side of the interstate, up O'Shea Road, further up, they have bike trails. And they have it in there saying bike trails. And most time when people are on their bicycles, they are coming facing the car. They're supposed to be going the same way the car's going. And if it's at night, you're supposed to have on light-colored clothes. But if you're walking, you walk facing the car. And then you know how we used to have to give hand signals before we got all this automatic stuff in the cars? You're supposed to have a reflector on the back of your bicycle and whatever, the light in front, and give those hand signals. And I sent one to all of you. Do you have them? You don't have that information?
Well, this
Yeah,
may be-
that's it, that's
yeah.
it. So that needs to be
Yes.
done. And, and then plus the fact, the motorists have to do something too. They have to look out for them, because when you get to intersections, you don't know whether they're gonna turn or go straight, so you have to kind of be careful. So that's what I wanted to say this morning. Did you have a copy, Mayor? I'm sorry you didn't get one. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Antone.
Dorothy Dorton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dorothy Dorton. I'm the Executive Director of VIA Health, Fitness, and Enrichment Center, and my address is 68 Crenshaw Street, 36606. And I'm really excited to come before y'all today. I just wanted to thank you again for restoring our funding and just kind of be proactive and give you an update and let you know how we're spending that money and what we're doing and just kind of give you an overall update. So again, thank you so much for restoring our funding. You will be happy to know that we are using our funding efficiently. Your reinstatement and program funding has prevented us from closing early and cutting staff any further. And this would have greatly affected our services, not only to our members, but to our adult daycare clients, our low-income homebound elderly clients that receive our in-home services as well, our food pantry clients, everyone we serve. We have been able to fully update all of our staff on safety and healthcare trainings, which is something that has been a challenge to do because that costs money. We've been able to repair broken fitness equipment that has not been safe to use, and we are also attempting to make some imperative safety repairs to our parking lot and drainage system. This has kind of become a neighborhood problem because our drainage, when it floods, as I'm sure it will this afternoon, gets into our neighbors' yards as well. So that's something that we're working on funding and everything for. With this restoration and funding, we've also provided more opportunities for our members to socialize, which prevents isolation, and we've been able to stay open during key holidays such as Veterans Day. And I'm very happy to announce that on Veterans Day, we are actually able to have a luncheon honoring our veterans. We had over 65 veterans there, and that was community sponsored. So we were able to get sponsorships from the community and some of our vendors to cover the cost for that. We were also open on the days leading up to Christmas and after Christmas, which is something we haven't been able to do before. And we were actually able to serve over 200 more clients during that time than we have ever. So that was a really wonderful thing. We're also using our funding more resourcefully. We're reducing expenses without sacrificing programs and quality of service. We've done a reorganization in the staff So for the first quarter of this fiscal year, ours starts in October, we show a 12% reduction in personnel costs. And we weren't having, like I said, we didn't have to cut staff any further. We've created stronger relationships with the local colleges and universities to increase volunteer and internship opportunities. And this helps out, obviously, with that low staff as well. And we were able to get constant contact services donated. So our newsletter is going from 100% print to 90% electronic, which is going to hopefully save us about $1,000 projected. And we're also working with new vendors for maintenance issues and custodial supplies, and that so far has resulted in a decrease in about 5% in occupancy expenditures. We're also making sure we turn off the lights in rooms that aren't being used, so that's been one of my things. We have also successfully launched a wellness plan called Aging Well. This is another source of potential sustainable income for us. It is available to local businesses, and we go out and do health presentations to their employees and try to get their insurance utilizations down through health education. So that's so far so good, been very well. Our Dolphin Street Cafe is under new management, and this is projected to cut utility costs even more. They're not utilizing our kitchen as much because they actually cook it in another area and bring it in. So that's something we're looking at. I'm sorry, I'll finish up. We've also been able to get our community partners and sponsors for a new Labor Day member-client appreciation event. We had a very successful Ugly Christmas Sweater competition and party, and a lot of these things, like I said, have been community-sponsored. The staff has pitched in and sponsored a lot of this. And we still face some challenges. Some of our other local funding was cut, so we're still working on our staff. Our staff's still at an all-time low. Staff members are still, and volunteers are still doing the work of 3 people. But we're managing. Our adult daycare keeps growing, which is great, but again, we need people to help staff that because we want to make sure we have a good client-to-staff ratio. And our transportation has increased drastically, which is our most necessary but our most expensive program. And then, again, like I said, our parking lot and our outside drainage is a big issue that we're trying to work on now, and it's been an ongoing challenge to find funding for that. But I just thank you again for your assistance and continued support, and it's most vital for our thousands of seniors and our families we serve. And you will have a copy of my report with some pictures to show you what's going on around the center and my contact information. So if you'd like any further information, please let me know. But again, thank you for all you do, especially for our seniors and what you've done for VIA. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's always good to hear from our performance contractors, letting us know how the taxpayers' money is being spent. So thank you very much for all that you do out there. It's a great center, great program.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
All right.
Herb Wagner.
Good morning. Herb Wagner, 732 Jemison Street, Mobile, Alabama, 36606. I thought I would be called to talk about the particular issues when they came up, but I was at pre-council today, and I wanted to, there were a couple of notes. One, I'd like to thank you for the penny and keeping the penny, because that definitely is pushing us forward to be able to carry out the improvements that we're looking for. We're going to really improve the city with that. And I'd like to make a comment on something that Mr. Manzi said in pre-council, and that is, and I absolutely agree, a minority business is a business that is owned and operated by a member of a minority. If we say that 80% of a group of minorities work for a business, or 50%, I wonder if Walmart would then qualify as a minority business. And he's right, we need minority participation to build that. And if I understood that we only have 2% in the capital, I really wasn't unsure. I wasn't at the meeting the week before, but we definitely, 15% is enough and 2% is certainly way below what our standard is. If I understand that we only have 2% minority business in the current contracts, was that what I understood?
I wasn't at the pre-conference meeting. I don't know, Mr. Manzi, can you help clarify what you said?
I can. The discussion was concerning a difference of opinion amongst city council persons relative to how do we meet the 15% benchmark. There's some who would subscribe that we do that by counting minorities in employment. And there are others like myself who believe that it should be considered from the value of the contract. But 2% came into an account when it came to the road resurfacing. And one of the tenets of that ordinance is that a person would make a good faith effort. Now, where there aren't individuals who are minorities who have those companies, it's going to be hard for someone to meet that 15% benchmark. I'm sure we'll discuss that as we get further into the agenda. We can't fault an individual for where they can't find a person to do the work. But what we're saying, what I believe a majority of us are saying is that where capable, competent, qualified minority vendors can be found, then we want that partnership to exist. So it isn't that just 2% of the city's contracts has gone to minorities. It was that 2% singularly on that one particular contract, and that was because there aren't any minority vendors here that do that kind of work.
Okay, well, good. I wasn't sure what the 2% was. I just heard it. And, but I completely agree that, with you on that particular point. And then I know we're coming up on the public hearing for tank farms. I didn't know if we were going to talk at that point, but I think Ms. Rich is definitely very right. We have to get this right. And my viewpoint has always been that I mean, the city council appointed a citizens advisory committee, and that committee was very representative of the city, many walks, and of people, businesses, large and small, local companies, which are in the environmental field and the health field, and they looked for a long time, very carefully, and devoted a lot of time. And the Planning Commission is not as representative, and I don't think they had as big a wide a view in as long time. And they admitted time and time again they really didn't know some of the issues. So I think we really need to be careful and pay more attention to the Citizens Advisory Committee and those and the issues that they brought. And I'll be seeing y'all again. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Lambert?
Andre Course.
Andre, what was the last name again?
I think it's Course, C-O-U-R-S. I can't understand the handwriting.
He's coming.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I see.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I'm from, with ELP Enterprise.
Can you pull the microphone up just a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Andre Course, I was a little nervous.
That's okay.
2122 Han Avenue, Mobile, Alabama. I'm come to speak with y'all about the bid process for the sidewalk project. And we came in low bid initially for the contract. And we wanted to came work ready and able to do the process. And because of problems with the contract, with the license, we weren't able to obtain the contract. Well, without any contact with us, we were kicked out. It's almost to the point of you building a home. You have someone who comes in with a low bid of $100 and some thousand cheaper. Well, I would think that you would have some sort of communication with that person before you kick their bid out and say, well, you're not eligible. I have with me today Mr. William Winford that would help with the contractor of this project. I brought him with me today, and we came ready to do the project And at this point, I feel like the door has been closed. Although some opportunity was offered, but it was a fraction of what we bid it for. And it was almost like a stipend. And to create business or create opportunity for minority, you have to have an open door all the way around for them. In clarity, I have a skill set that few people have, very hardworking, went to University of Southern Miss, got a degree, and here we are with an opportunity to do great things with the city, and I just wanted more clarity when it came to that. The councilman asked me before if I felt like it was the best effort given to me to obtain the contract. And I said, well, I was given the opportunity to bid. But from that, with the opportunity, the hope of a lot of people who strive to be minority contractors or to elevate themselves, not just the workers, but to generate wealth or pride within a community, you have to embrace everyone. And then give a clear understanding to me why the opportunity is not given for everyone in the same manner. If I had something incorrect or correct, and I felt allowed an opportunity to correct that mistake. And if I couldn't correct it, then it would be just cause for me to be kicked out the process. But I had no opportunity to do that, but have this skill set and could save the city money and put their people to work, our people to work. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you coming. I know we met you last week, I believe it was, when you came down. Mr. Rose is here, and I'm going to ask Don if you wouldn't mind coming, and I see Archanique also in the audience, to respond to this. As I recall, the reason that your proposal was kicked out was because you did not have proper license at the time. And from what I know about bid procedures and proposals, there was always a date certain when you turn in your proposal. That is the date certain, and if there's something that is wrong, that you didn't answer correctly, whatever the reason is, then those bids are kicked out. But I want Mr. Rose, if he would, to please come and respond, if he would.
Madam President, while Mr. Rose is approaching the podium.
Yes, sir, Mr.
I
Williams.
asked a question last week about your place of business. How long have you had your business just outside the city limits there in Pritchard? How long have you been established there?
It's been a year.
A year? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Cool, thank you.
But we are happy to have you here, and the fact that you are, I believe you told me that you had gotten your license in the interim and available to do work in the city on new projects. So, Mr. Rose or Ricardo, whoever is going to respond, if you would.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. So let me compare, and for clarity, compare what we're dealing with. You heard this last week, but there's a nuance here that I think is being missed. In order to be a general contractor, Madam President stated correctly, you have to be licensed with the state of Alabama. That's a state requirement by the general contractors. At the time the bid process began, that was not true of our subcontractor here. And then I think all parties can admit that, and that has been communicated. There's no negotiation with that. There's nothing in our process where we can negotiate or massage that part of the state statute. That is a requirement. There are numerous cases on it, and I think Mr. Rossler can back us up there. That is the requirement. Over $50,000, which this project is well over 50, you have to be a general. That's not something that we can tool. When you compare the DBE forms that come into the council, that process is specifically designed for public scrutiny so that it goes before the council and you're able to ask those questions. And that is an ordinance, and that is in our purview, and that is under the council's control. And so those questions can be asked. And that fruit can be brought to bear, and there's an accountability level with anyone who's dealing with our ordinance. And let me say thank you to the council for doing so. That is the way our internal process is designed. Our internal process is subject to public scrutiny and can be changed, and is open and transparent. The state statute dealing with general contractors and that $50,000 limit is non-negotiable. The next time, we will be ready to aid and assist anyone who is ready, willing, competitive, and properly licensed to enter into this process, and we'll be glad to do so.
In the bid proposals, just to be clear, all the requirements are set forth in the bid documents, correct?
Correct.
Any other questions?
I do have one.
Mr. Williams?
Did I hear that you're now a general contractor licensed with the state of Alabama?
Yes, we have, Mr. William, would you?
Now,
No,
I was talking about you.
are you a general
applied.
contractor?
Are you a general
No,
contractor
sir.
with the state of Alabama?
No, sir.
But you have a
Okay.
license as a subcontractor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Mrs. Rich?
For clarification, your sense is when you did not, when the bid was rejected, although it's clear that the administration has to go by the letter of the law for contracts that are over 50,000, for the person submitting them, they have to show the licensure, it's a number or whatever, and that obviously was missing. You feel that you were just kicked out without communication. So was there something the administration could send you a letter that said why you were removed? I mean, we can't mandate that they proceed in a certain manner, but it sounds like it was some lack of communication that you're left feeling.
Well, I didn't know at all. The way I found out was I was reached by the person who came ahead of the one who had won and asked if I was willing to do some business as far as a subcontract.
Yes.
And, well, he said he won the second portion of the contract. I felt like I should have been reached by someone where I wouldn't be caught off guard when I received a call to do business with someone else. I could have, maybe the conversation would have been handled a little different. I had known nothing.
I see.
So that's the problem.
Madam President, may we correct the record?
Yes, I was just going to call on either you or Mr. Wood to tell us about the process and how it was handled when his bid was kicked out, basically.
Sure. Mr. Rose, in an effort to contact the bidder at that point in time, was unable to reach him directly and did leave word with his company as well as communicating with them electronically. And Mr. Amberger, the city engineer, did speak personally to the individual at the podium.
Thank you.
And when Mr. Amberger spoke with him, did he explain why his bid was not going to be considered?
Yes, he did.
And it was because he was not properly licensed? Is that what it was? Okay,
Correct.
all right. Anybody else? Mr.
Madam-
Richardson?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President, it's not necessarily a question to him. I don't disagree with his position at all. The law, we heard it stated that the law states that you have to have your contractor's license before you can bid. You can't go and get it after you bid. You have to have I understand all of that, because that's the law. The law also states that a minimum of 15% of the contract you bidded on must go to minorities. That is as much the law as the state law. And we had contractors to put down in that category, well, do you have the 15%? They put TBE, to be determined. And so what the council did, we got with them and said, okay, you can't do that. You have to go get 15%. Go and get your 15% and come back. So when they got the 15% and came back, and what he is saying, They scratched him off the list and didn't even notify him. They didn't say, go get you what you had to come back. Nobody even notified him until after he had already been notified by somebody else. It could have been a fault of his that his phone wasn't working. I don't know what it was. But when he is saying that we all ought to be treated alike, that if you come before this council and all of your paperwork is not in order, then you ought to be turned down, just like he was turned down. That's the way, going into the future, that's the way I see it.
I have a question.
Madam President?
Hang on.
I have the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were
I
done.
thought you quit, Fred.
No.
No, he's still going. Go
And
ahead.
but I want to make this clear. I'm only speaking from Fred Richardson's standpoint. I recognize that other council members may see it in a different light. But I'm telling you how I see it and how I'm going to vote. Whatever is required of you, put it in the package. And I'm not in favor of trying to find no hound dog to run you down for you to come back with more information. Now, I would, you know, we doing this time. I don't intend to be caught into this situation again. And so when Mr. Rose and Mr. Kidd put down there 1%, I'm not going to ask them to go find a contractor not another time to see can he do any better. My vote is going to be no. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. In other words, unless you make some sort of change, your result will continue to be the same, and we are seeking a different result. Meaning, we got to do something different, and I am fully prepared to do something different. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, does anybody else have any questions for the gentleman? Oh, okay. Let's see.
Question? I have no questions.
I have a
Mrs.
quick
Rich?
question. I think you can answer yes or no.
Okay.
Did you attend any of the forums or vendor contract
Meetings.
seminars that the city put together?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Williams, did you have?
Nothing for Andre.
Anybody on the
Thank
council
you.
have any more questions of the gentleman who is here? Mr. Manzi?
Point, you said, have you subsequently aligned yourself with one of the individuals who is doing the work? So you will be a part of this current agenda, this current process?
Yes, sir, I will, to a certain extent. It's not quite the same. Let's say at the pricing that I had given, if someone were to say, just go to do the job, they would still come out with a great percentage and wouldn't be liable for anything, no headaches. But the portion that we're being offered is 5%. It's so small that it's a strive to something, but it's not. It's more of a token offering than saying being aggressive and saying, I want you to be on my team. I'm capable and ready to do it. But if not ever allowed the opportunity, then you will always be in the same position.
Anyone else have any?
I don't have another question.
I just want to make sure nobody else has any questions of the gentleman so we can let him take a seat. He's been here for a while.
Yeah, I just got one question towards
Mr.
the
Small?
administration. Just administration, that's all.
Okay, Mr. Corse, you can take a seat. We don't want to keep you standing here. Mr. Manzi, are you finished, or?
Well, I have some commentary, but not any more questions. Did you want me to go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I see both sides of this issue, and I think it's the intention of this council and the administration to be intentional in being as inclusive in what we do in this capital improvement plan and what we do as a city as possible. And I'm hopeful that there'll be other opportunities. I'm happy that Mr. Corse is working with one of the other vendors. I know it's not what you would have wanted, It's not necessarily moving the ball as far down the field as we would want, but we want the citizens that we represent to know that this is an ongoing discussion. This is the first time that we've really broached this in a serious and substantive way, and it's going to get better with time. But I think what you see in a gentleman like Mr. Course is exactly the argument that we're making, and we've been making for the last several months, that there are individuals in this city who are capable and competent and qualified to do the work, who merely and simply want an opportunity. And there are hundreds of Mr. Courses across this community that if we don't stand up, and if we don't be intentional, and if we don't make demands on persons who typically would have an easy way and an easy road to contracts, then those opportunities will never be presented to them. To the degree that we can, we ought to. There are instances where we won't be able to, and I get that. So I'm hopeful as we continue down the road of this 3-year plan that there'll be other substantive opportunities for individuals like Mr. Course who just want to be a part of the business community that they live in, they work in, they worship in, they pay taxes in. That's not an unreasonable argument. And so I'm happy that he'll have some portion, clearly understanding that it's not to the extent that you bid for, it's not to the extent that you have the ability for, but that it's a good first faith, good effort on this part of what we're trying to do. And we want to encourage others who have a similar story like Mr. Course to get involved, so that, because if you're not at the table or not around the table, it's hard for us on our end to advocate for you.
All right, and Mr. Williams?
No, it was myself.
Oh, okay, Mr. Small?
I just have a question towards the administration. I know that we had classes and workshops in the past, and understand that the requirement was getting out then. But my question is, every time that a contractor comes to the city to bid on a job for the city of Mobile, if there's a list passed out such as the requirements as the particular contractor has to be state licensed and the 15% minority participation, if there's a list passed out to every time a contractor comes down to bid on a particular job?
Do y'all understand the question?
As part of the bid process, those requirements are spelled out in the bid packages.
Okay.
If there's a particular contractor, such as Mr. Course, that desires the assistance of the city to make sure that he is fully qualified, we would be more than happy to have Ms. Kidd and Mr. Rose work with him. That is part of the supplier diversity program. It's not so much the bureaucratic review of bids, but it's the cultivation of a workforce and a contract force throughout the city. And we see this as an opportunity to pivot from this moment and actually work with Mr. Course to make sure that he is wholly competitive going forward.
All right, thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Richardson?
Since it's highly likely that there are people out there that will be listening to us later on, they may have license to do some of the work that we will be doing in the future, because there will be about $21 million in contracts this year, is what we expect. We are just beginning. There will be plenty of opportunity. But for those people who believe that they have a set of skills that are necessary for them to bid on some of this work, I want to ask the administration, what should they do to be a part of it?
We will make available even more publicly than we have the dates that we are having various learning sessions or fairs.
Yes.
Vendor Days is on March 9th. March 9th. We will send all this information out so it's not garbled, and the council can put it in their newsletters, as well as we'll send out a press release. Additionally, if they have any direct contact questions, they can contact Ms. Kidd or Mr. Rose at any given time.
Can we give out a number for them to call if they want to call somebody today? I know it's 208.
They can always call the mayor's office and we can put them in touch. You recite that number.
208-7395.
Yes, sir.
Call the mayor's office and ask them what you need to do to get your name on the list, so you can be considered and notified whenever something comes up to be bidded on.
The bid list, right.
And we will follow up with communication.
Madam President,
Mr. Williams?
I want to state briefly what I said this morning, and that if anyone, and Fred, by the way, they're listening to us live now. They can listen to us any time of the day they want to from the website. But anyone who's listened to the message at any time, if there is any facts that support the argument that there has been any discrimination whatsoever at any level, and I'm not talking about, hundreds of millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars or at any level, if there's been discrimination in our process, I want to know about it. And then when I don't do something, when I don't stand with you, I want you to go get the press and go get the media and come back to me and prove where we didn't do it. I'm in the fight. We've got to do it right. But giving away contracts simply because is not the answer. The answer is to find out who are the general contractors. Mr. Mayor, I would like a list of every general contractor that we know of in the city of Mobile. I'm going to send them a letter. And I want to know whether or not they've had incidents, one, doesn't matter how minor, of discrimination in this process of contracting. Because I think what we're doing is we're focused on the wrong problem. The problem is we don't have general contractors that are ready to do the jobs. We can't make these people. You can't make a contractor overnight. It's a long process required by state law. And what the vocal population is here in town that's arguing this issue right now, including my colleagues, we need to get focused on the right issue, and that is identifying the Andres of Mobile, Alabama, and making sure that they not only know the process, but they're engaged so that they can become general contractors. We can't do anything about the state law. But I'm going to state one more time, if there's any discrimination whatsoever, whether or not it be employment or it be contracting like we're talking about now, I want to know about it. I've heard of none, zero, to this point. But I'm standing ready to fight that fight if there is. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. Did somebody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Manzi?
Mr. Williams, we'll just have to agree to respectfully disagree. I think the evidence that I needed was given to me my second month in office when we got the results of a very exhaustive disparity study that showed that there is a great and stark disparity between majority minority communities as it relates to contracts with the city of Mobile. I don't know how more defined, definite, specific you want your results. The city on the last term, your term, paid a company to do a disparity study to tell us what we probably already knew from day one, that there's a stark disparity. And there will continue to be a disparity if we follow down the mindset that you just advocated. There'll continue to not be opportunities for individuals like Andrew Corse and others who happen to look like me and look like Councilwoman Gregory and disabled individuals and veterans and any other minority community that you want to articulate, as long as you are espouse a view that I just heard you espouse.
You're not listening, Mr. Manzi.
Wait.
Oh, I'm
Absolutely
Williams.
not listening. It's not true, Ms.
totally
Gregory.
Hang on.
And at some point, we got to get to the truth.
Mr. Williams,
That's not what I said.
I'll give you a chance. Mr. Manzi, are you finished?
I wasn't quite finished.
All right, I'm not going to put up with arguing between council members. I just want to let you know that
Well,
right
I have
now.
the right
So
to speak, Madam
direct
President.
your comments and be civil.
I was very civil.
All right,
Any
go ahead.
outrageousness was on
Go
the other
ahead.
end. I was very civil.
My comments were directed at Mr. Williams as well as yourself. So
I
please
understand.
continue, and then
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
recognize Mr. Williams. And
Thank-
remember, I am the chair of this meeting, so I will
But I
thank
have
you
the right to speak,
remember. I
Madam President.
understand, Mr. Manzi. Listen to me. Now, go ahead.
So again, in conclusion, if we follow down the path that we followed down for 300 years, we're going to get the same results. All the people of my community want, all the people of everyone's community wants, is an opportunity to participate in a system that they pay into. This isn't some grant. This isn't some loan that we've gotten from some philanthropic organization. These are our tax dollars expended by everyone from every community in this city. And if we are not intentional in how we build capacity in all communities, some will rise while others continue to fall. I know that in business as usual, but that isn't what we came down here for. If all of us are going to pay into the penny, then all of us ought to have the opportunity to be employed and become employees as a result of the penny. That's all I'm saying. We may not ever see eye to eye on this issue. The way your mind works may be different from mine, and if everybody thought the same, it'd be a good thing. We don't need that here. But that's my perspective. That's how I'm going to handle my office. That's how I'm going to handle my vote. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Williams? Mr. Williams, do you want to make a comment?
I've made my comment, thank you.
Mrs. Rich?
I'm not going to comment. I have a question. Is there a tool for the council to learn information on what constitutes a state contractor's license, like what is required? Is there any website you could direct the council to?
Mr. Woods?
Yes, Alabama
you.
General Contractors.
Thank you. I appreciate
Mr.
that.
Richardson, do you have a comment?
Yes, Madam President, I close my comment out by saying
Okay, thank you.
that it is not necessary for you to become the main contractor. It's not necessary. It's necessary for the contractor, whoever has to bid, to share a portion of that contract with DBEs. That's what we're talking about. You might not be the main contractor, but you're not out of the game now, because the law states that contractor has to share a portion of that work. If we're not talking about our employees, the value of that contract, has to be shared with subcontractors. And if you are not able to become a contractor and you're a subcontractor, you are set to go.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? I'm going to close this out. We've had some very spirited discussion this morning. What I would like to say is that what we are doing now with our new department under Mr. Rose and Mrs. Kidd and the Stimson administration is to make it possible to learn about people who are disadvantaged business entrepreneurs and help them get established and get some of these contracts. This is the first time we've had this. We've never had a portal on our website to give people an opportunity to go through and answer the bids, to register as a DBE, and we've never had an office to work with people who are looking to bid, who've never had an opportunity to bid before. So this is a very positive step. It's slow, I understand that, but this is very positive for the city of Mobile. So I want to thank you for what you're doing, for reaching out and for making it possible for people like Mr. Corso to get work with the city. It's long overdue. So just work with us. We'll make it happen going forward. Thank you.
Dr. Jeremiah Newell.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Jeremiah Newell with the Mobile Air Education Foundation, the COO. I'm joined by Suzanne Bernard, the head of the NEEKC Evidence of Success operation there at NEEKC out of Baltimore. I am a resident of Mobile, 753 St. Francis Street, 36602, proud resident of downtown Mobile. And so I'm here to speak about a few things. One, first, the partnership that has evolved now with the city and the community of Mobile and the Annie Casey Foundation and Evidence to Success. You have spoken at length about infrastructure of a kind of physical kind. We're here to talk about another important part of our infrastructure, which is our people. human infrastructure and the power of youth and families and the support of them to be successful in this community. And so, as you all are well aware, there's much work to be done around human infrastructure as well, lagging academic achievement for our young people, increase in violence, family needs of all kinds, and collaboratively, we have to work to solve those problems. And evidence of success is about working together as communities. We're going to begin in the Dauphin Island Parkway, Martin Luther King corridors, and Maysville areas, but we're going to grow over time to work in partnership with our communities and neighborhoods to bring evidence-based practices, to make sure that whether we're systems of service with youth or community folks that are just by our bootstraps, doing right for our young people, that we're doing things that are evidence-based and not just things that we think are good ideas. And that the work with Annie E. Casey will help us to identify what those evidence-based practices are and to then implement them collaboratively by identifying the priorities. So Suzanne Bernard will tell us a little bit more. We want to invite you all, but also all that are here. As soon as the City Council meeting has adjourned, we will have a press conference right outside that will tell not just those in this room, but in the entire community about the progress and the potential of evidence of success. Suzanne.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Good morning, still. Thank you very much for your time. Jeremiah did a really good job of talking about evidence to success, and I don't really have a lot to add to that, except to say, as he told you, I'm with the Annie E. Casey Foundation, and Annie E. Casey was the widowed mother of 4 children back at the turn of the 20th century. And her 2 sons decided that in order to help support the family, they would start a bicycle messenger service. Well, that bicycle messenger service grew and over time became one of the world's best-known corporations, UPS. So I tell you that story because I want you to know that evidence to success, as Jeremiah described it, is all about family, about children, about community, and Jim Casey was also about children and families and children in those communities. So evidence to success kind of covers all those bases. It basically works to empower public systems to come together with community residents to take a look at the issues that youth surface within certain communities. And in Mobile, it will be those 3 neighborhoods that Jeremiah described. Once those issues have surfaced, we go in for a while. We help the community and the public systems learn to do this themselves because we like to leave our expertise within a community so that they can improve on the work that's already being done in those communities, in this case, Mobile. We go in and take a look at those issues, and we try to help match evidence-based or proven effective programs that will work to improve outcomes for those youth. Alabama was chosen as a new evidence to success site through a very competitive national process, and it was due in large part because Mobile turned in a very strong proposal that showed lots of strong community partnerships, and they rose above many of the applicants that we had in that process. So I'm very excited to be here. I think that was the buzzer, or at least the warning buzzer, right? I'm a sports fan. I know about warning buzzers. So I just wanted to say that Evidence to Success Startup in Mobile is made possible through not only financial commitments from Annie Casey Foundation, but also from the Alabama Department of Youth Services and the Mobile Area Education Foundation. Other key partners in Mobile are the Mobile County Public School System, the Mobile Housing Authority, and many other family and youth serving agencies. But most importantly, the residents of those 3 pilot neighborhoods that we told you about, they will be a strong force in the implementation of this. So I want to salute your community, and I want to tell you that we're anxiously and excitedly looking forward to working with you in the next 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Ms. Lambert.
Resolutions held over. 01115, authorizing amendment number 7 to the agreement with Tyler Technologies.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21116, authorized contract with Inman Enterprises doing business as Janie King of Mobile for janitorial services at various facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21117, authorized contract with Harwell and Company for sidewalk repair services at various locations.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. I understand that they have met the 15% DBE requirement.
All right, very good. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21-118, authorized contract of asphalt services for sidewalk repair services at various locations.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
I understand the same thing for this contract.
Good news. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 09007.
This ordinance will be laid over for 1 week by council rules.
Okay.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 03120 through 58125.
Motion for the suspension of the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 03120 through 58125.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
03120 and 121, reappoint Louis Golden and William Guest to the Board of Adjustment and reappoint Lavanus Fisher to the Human Relations Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
37, are there any objections to any of the liquor licenses?
Any objections? All right, go ahead.
37, 122, 123, and 124 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer table wine off-premises only license for Payless Zone on Spring Hill Avenue, a retail beer table wine on off-premises only license for K Restaurant on Cottage Hill Road, and for issuance of a special event retail license for 2016 Festival of Flowers at Providence Hospital Garden Gallery venue.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
58-125, authorized removal of weeds, Group 1532.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
CIP resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21-126 through 21-129.
Motion for suspension.
I'm withholding unanimous consent on all resolutions, starting with 121, 126 through 121, 129.
All right. Mr. Williams has withheld unanimous consent, which means that these will lay over 1 week.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 01-130 through 31-133.
Same.
Motion.
Resolutions being introduced.
Yeah.
By
Mr.
council rules, these will be laid over 1 week.
Call for public hearing scheduled March 22nd, 41-134. Call for public hearing to consider an amendment to the zoning ordinance to provide supplementary regulation of the location and construction of new above-ground oil storage tanks.
Move to lay over 1 week.
Second?
Discussion on laying over the public hearing for 1 week. Mrs. Rich?
I'll be brief. There are some issues that we could perhaps add into this before the public hearing is actually called so that it's advertised appropriately. And I hope that my colleagues will entertain that extra week to do that prior to calling the public hearing, which I realize does now make the public hearing get a new date, but it's only a 1 week difference from the original call for public hearing.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. All right, the motion fails. Anybody on the, can we bring this back up? No, it's just over.
Now you have to call.
Call.
3 opposed.
3 opposed.
So my motion failed.
Hang
Okay,
on.
go back to the original.
Mr. Williams had to leave. So the move to lay this over for 1 week has failed. It has been rejected, so we will have to set a new, pardon me? Me, Mr. Williams, and
Mr. Davis.
So now you have to call for the original motion.
Right.
I move the original motion, which is to
call for the public hearing.
All right. There's a motion on the floor to call for public hearing.
Second, we need a second.
Need a second.
Second. All right, discussion. Let me just start. This is a public hearing. It is not to pass this. It is not to amend this at all. It is simply a public hearing. Once we hold a public hearing, the public comes to speak. The council will have it on its agenda. That is an opportunity at that point for changes to be made. Holding this over for more changes to be made to what is advertised is basically the same thing. So my thought is go ahead, get the public hearing scheduled, and go forward from there. That's why I voted to oppose laying it over 1 week and have seconded the motion to go ahead and put it on the agenda for simply a public hearing.
I would
Mrs. Rich, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And I know that you missed pre-conference where we discussed this at length. This is not what was automatically brought up from the Planning Commission. There were some additions and changes, some very good, more in keeping with what the community wanted, although there is an interest to move this expeditiously because we've been working on it for 2 years. But if we could get another week, which is what I had suggested, in order to, again, put in some more community information or community essence to what we will be adopting, perhaps. And I realize that it is not final, but if the sense is you didn't want it to return back to the Planning Commission or be re-advertised, the time to get a little bit more was at this point, and it would only be a week's difference, whereas if there are changes, and perhaps there'll be lobby changes, then it will happen, then that will have to be advertised again for another 3 weeks. So that was my thought on this, and I was hoping that my colleagues would support this. Obviously, they didn't, and so I feel like since it was not the recommended piece of information or ordinance that came up from what took forever from the Planning Commission, and then in the last couple of weeks has been changed and tweaked, and but not exposed to the public, getting it the best one we could offer at this point would be wise for this council to do, but obviously I didn't have support.
All right, anyone else? Mr.
Madam
Richardson?
President, yes. Ms. Rossler, will there be any opportunity between now and March 22nd for Ms. Rich to get with you and us to talk about any changes you would wish to make? Will there be any opportunity between now and March 22nd?
Or we can always talk about changes, but
It's not advertised.
if they were made, they'd have to be advertised
Yeah,
again.
it has to be advertised.
But you're saying if we laid it over 1 week, we wouldn't have to advertise it?
No, if changes were made, if it was held over a week and changes were made during that week, then that would be advertised and might keep us from having to re-advertise a second time.
Okay, so if the council voted down the public hearing today, would that give another week to make those changes? Because we still got to vote on the public hearing.
Yes.
If the council voted down the public hearing today, would that still give enough time to make those changes?
I would presume it would, yes.
It could be laid over for a week, I guess. Would we have to, we wouldn't advertise until something is actually voted on.
Right, so if we,
So it could be laid over a week,
that's what I asked.
yes.
So,
But if we reject the public hearing, if I could, I don't.
Hang on. Mr. Manzi, did you have a?
I just want to quickly make certain that I have clarity as it relates to moving forward. If we move, I'm semi-disappointed that we don't have support to lay it over a week. Recognizing that I don't have it, I'm inclined to move forward under the circumstances that I understand exactly how we're going to do that. We're calling a public hearing. Mr. Rossler, we're calling a public hearing. Surely this isn't just a dog and pony show for the public. We're going to want the public to come down and weigh in on what's being proposed. Am I right? And that's subject to them weighing in. We may hear something that just is common sense, is agreeable to both sides of this argument, and as a result, would necessitate a change. Now, in having that change, it would have to be re-advertised for 3 more weeks. So we're talking about an additional 3 weeks. That's if we have some changes from the public, correct?
Yes, sir.
You know, as long and exhaustive as this process has been, I'm not reasonably assured that the people that I represent won't have an opportunity to speak. They're not here in great numbers today. I'm sure they'll be here in March. They're going to provide us feedback. And if we have to use 3 more weeks to advertise any changes, if there be any, then I'm not against that. I'm not against that.
Okay. Mr. Daves?
What we're doing is we're voting on having a public hearing.
Just going ahead and setting them.
Yeah, we're just setting the date. I don't think it makes much sense to try to tweak the document now and then have a public hearing, which at that point may cause another tweak. Let's go ahead and move forward and have the public hearing, and if after that public hearing there are 5 votes on the council to do something different with what's showing up on the agenda now, we can address it at that point. But there's no sense, I don't think, in having this kind of stage process where the council puts together something, and then we put that on there, and then it has to, then we hear from the public again, because we don't know what we're going to do until we hear from the public.
So you're saying that whatever tweaking that Mr. Rich wanted to do, hold it until the
Gets on the agenda.
22nd?
I'm just saying there's no sense, I mean, the whole reason behind a public hearing is to
have a
hear from the
public
public
hearing.
and then to make a determination whether
Right.
anything that we've heard is persuasive to change it. Okay, so why would we go ahead and make some tweaks and then have a public hearing? Let's get to the public hearing, and then after the public hearing, you know, we can see where we are. But to me, it doesn't make much sense to have this kind of us fiddling with it ourselves before the public hearing.
Okay.
And I would agree with Mr. Daves. Mrs. Rich, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you. I would agree with that if we were working strictly off of what the Planning Commission normally recommends to this council. But since there was some changes, then to me, it's still a work in progress on behalf of the council, what is advertised. And so that's why I was asking for the extra week. And if there's already 3 council people that have approved this in the condition it's in, then, and certainly not interested in seeing additional time for any changes, I'm not saying how that vote will come out after the public hearing, but I think it does, you know, portend the future, that there's support for the way it is written now, and changes will be quite difficult to achieve after the advertising period, for the sense that it has to be re-advertised and people don't want to wait anymore and time is of the essence or whatever will be utilized. But I'll weigh, I tried, and certainly the zoning classifications are incorrect. I don't know, we've never gone off of just language that described residential church. We always use zoning classifications. That's not in this. I don't know if that would constitute a big change that would have to be re-advertised. And then the concerns about who inspects during the course of the build. And that was something that was, I lobbied that when I met initially with interested parties. We never discussed it as a council. This is our time to discuss what that language is. But if there's no desire to hold it up an extra week, then I would prefer not to call for the public hearing at this point, because then it goes silent now, and during the next week, it could be a different call next week. So that's what was in the language would be different than what we're calling today.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Rich. Anyone else? All right, is there a motion on the floor? I've kind of forgotten where we are.
Yes, there
All
is.
right. All in favor of calling for this public hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
All right, with the public hearing is set now for March 22nd.
Announcements.
All righty.
Madam President, may I make a comment?
Mayor?
Yes. I just want to express what I think was going to be extreme displeasure on the part of the citizens of Mobile in regards to some of the CIP resolutions that were being introduced, being held over. We've had multiple conversations about trying to expedite this process. There's been a process put in place. It was somewhat agreed upon. And to not vote on 21-126 and 21-127 is throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and it just absolutely makes no sense. And so I'm just saying on the record that I think that all the citizens are going to be disgusted that we can't figure out how to get this process going forward.
Well, Mayor, I hear you and I understand. We are all ready to get those streets resurfaced, and there are a lot of them. But as you all know, council rules say that any council member can withhold unanimous consent on any issue any Tuesday, and that's what has happened. So we will have to go by our rules, and this will be back on the agenda next week. I know you've already put out a news release, and you've got all those streets listed, so people understand that work is coming, and we will be happy to see those workers out there doing the work as soon as possible.
Madam
Anybody
President,
else? Mr.
yes,
Richardson?
Madam President, we want to make sure that if any word goes forth about this, the council didn't hold them over. It's held over by Councilmember John Williams.
Well, one council member is
District 4. But that's true. You're saying
Okay.
the rules. I'm saying that this council
We
did
hear
not
you.
hold these projects over. We heard, I think they're gonna see it played back.
Right.
They're gonna see this meeting played back, where one council member held these items over, not all of us. I was ready to go, and, but I do agree that we have to abide by our rules. Rules are rules. Sometimes we like the rules, sometimes we don't. But the absence of rules, you have chaos. That's why we have rules, to eliminate chaos. We had no chaos. We'll vote next week.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson, for the clarification. Yes, these are the rules of the council. We have had council members hold up issues. Ever since I have been on this council, everybody else was ready to go and vote, but one council member refused to give unanimous consent, and so it was held up for a week. That's what is happening now. We want to see those streets being resurfaced as quickly as possible. I know our engineers are a little frustrated by the time it takes to get bids, open bids, and get everything ready for a contract and actually get the workers on the scene. But we will vote on this next week, and I expect you will see a unanimous vote on these street resurfacing projects. Anybody else? All right, let's do some announcements very quickly. Mr. Small?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd first like to open up by saying that I would like to request the mayor to conduct a comprehensive transportation study looking at the ridership conditions of the buses and route distribution of the system to ensure that all tax dollars are being spent wisely on the system, and also to make sure that the underprivileged citizens are being taken care of as need to be. I understand that there was some cuts, but did not know that the cuts would be significant cuts that is affecting the underprivileged citizens. So I am requesting the mayor to do a comprehensive study of some time to present to the citizens and to the citizens of Mobile, and also encouraging the mayors of Pritchard and also Chickasaw to join in with the mayor and get with the wave authority so we can get this issue that we have in front of us, behind us, as soon as possible. On a better note, on yesterday, I had the privilege to join Mayor Stimson and other executives of the Mobile Airport Authority in doing a groundbreaking ceremony for Mars Aviation. It had took place yesterday at the Brooklyn Complex. It's going to be $1 multi-million-dollar facility that is coming up in District 3. It's going to employ at least 80 people with brand new jobs. I'm encouraging all the citizens to please to log on to AIDT.com and take advantages of the jobs and opportunity that is coming to the Mobile area. Also, on this coming Saturday, February 27th, the Fulton Heights Community Action Group will have a cleanup in the neighborhood. This will take place at 7:30 a.m. and we will meet up at the Fry Park, asking all the residents in the Fulton Heights to come out on this coming Saturday, February 27 at 7:30 a.m. For the community cleanup. The Community Action Group will supply hot dogs and drinks following the cleanup, and again, we're inviting all the citizens. On March the 15th, 2016, I will have our first district meeting of 2016 at the Maryvale Elementary School. I have invited the mayor, also the chief of police, to come out at 6 o'clock p.m. to answer the question that you might have, District 3. Again, this meeting will take place on, Tuesday, March the 15th, 2016, at the Maryvale Elementary School, located on Dolphin Island Parkway. On Saturday, March the 26th, 2016, at 3 o'clock p.m., District 3 will host its 4th annual Easter egg hunt at the Maryvale Elementary School. Myself, the City of Mobile, Cumulus Broadcasting are getting together and to sponsor this big old Easter egg hunt. We have thousands of eggs on order that we're inviting all the citizens, not only in District 3, but throughout Mobile, to come out on Saturday, March the 26th, 2016, at 3 o'clock p.m. for District 3, 4th annual Easter egg hunt. Also, I would like to remind the citizens to make sure that we keep our area clean. If you have any city issues or you need any city services, please pick up the phone and dial 311. And remember that District 3 is the place where things are happening. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Small. Mrs. Rich?
No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Richardson?
All right, Madam President. I would like to commend Mr. Rose and Ms. Kidd for attending my Beat 30 and 31 community meeting in Crichton last Thursday night. They did an outstanding job, and I just want you all to know that I appreciate y'all coming to the meeting. It was a great meeting. A lot of information was given to the citizens there that would be very beneficial to them, and it all went well. We are coming to the close of Black History Month. I have 4 engagements yet to be filled between now and Sunday. I'll be at Fordham College on the 25th that morning, but that afternoon I'll be at Westside United Methodist Church on Mohawk Street. And then on the 27th, that's Saturday, the Sigma Gamma Rho sorority will be holding a Black History program at the Tobinville Library, and I'll be speaking there. And then at the El Bethel Primitive Baptist Church on Sunday. So, but in light of that, what I wanted to do was kind of close the Black History. This is going to be the last meeting during Black History Month, and I would like to close out with the second stanza of Lift Every Voice and Sing by James Weldon Johnson, where he said, "Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. But yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way with our tears we have watered. We have come treading the path through the blood of the slaughter. But out from this gloomy path, till now we stand at last, under the white gleam of which our bright star has cast." Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Mr. Manzi?
Yes, Madam President, I want to thank the residents of Lafayette Heights, Old Dolphin Way, and Linecoff historic districts for coming out to our recent community meetings. We hope to call an Administrative Services Committee meeting for next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We'll be notifying the members of that respective committee of that meeting. I had the privilege of being the Black History Month speaker at the St. Mary's Catholic School this morning, and I'll also be speaking as the Black History speaker for the Corps of Engineers on this Thursday. And that concludes my announcements.
All right. Thank you. And just a heads up to people in District 7, I have a March 29th district meeting at the Botanical Gardens at 6 o'clock p.m. Invited guests include Chief Barber and Diane Irby, who is our Senior Director of Planning. We'll talk about the various capital improvement programs going on within the district, and I've asked Chief Barber to speak on some of the DVDs that he has in the school system, as well as just some of the recent events that have happened in the city that have brought so much concern to parents and families alike. Mr. Richardson, did you have another announcement?
No.
Oh, okay. He was signaling me. Ms. Antone, I'm sorry, we have already gone so long today, and I do have one other announcement, and that is following this meeting, we will have an executive session coming up, so I am moving now to convene into executive session for the purpose of discussing the general reputation and character of the persons that have applied for the position of Public Relations Coordinator with the City Council. I do need a second. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And we are adjourned. Yes, right, and the council will not reconvene.